Good evening, guys. Hey, how you all doing out there? Right, have a few saws out under a promise to show a few saws or a handful of saws to different people, and also to get some feedback from people that cut lots more than me, which is, lots of the people that watch the vids and have got a lot more experience. And so I get asked, well, the same question over and over on some of the saws, which is, for instance, why is one of the saws up for spares or repair, and a couple of the other saws, they're not up for spares or repair. And it's a really interesting subject because you start to realize how subjective the word spares or repair is when people look at an object from either a knowledgeable point of view, where they have knowledge of it. And so if I was looking back at some of my early late 50s Clinton saws, gravity fed fuel system, what other people might look at now if they were unaware of the system, they say, oh, this thing has a problem, and I'd say no, I'd say it was idiosyncratic. I'd say you just don't understand the peculiarities of using it. It isn't faulty, that's how they run. And then between perhaps a layman that looks and thinks this should definitely be running better than this, that's faulty, and then a knowledgeable person looking at something and thinks no, it should definitely run better than this, that is faulty. So it sounds the same, but it's different. So I'm going to hopefully put my slant on how I feel about some of the saws in their category, and also just clarify, because there's multiple questions about some of the saws. So with that in mind, then we'll come back to one of my spectacular favorite 70s saws in 1 second. Let's pick up the easy one. Okay, so this little girl's gone up for sale on eBay. The little 011 AV. Done nothing to her, and was caught out by the seller that didn't say that the threads on the end of the crankshaft were actually broken off, and that they hadn't checked it, etc, etc. So all that to one side. So because I noticed that, not done any work to this engine, and not checked the fuel filter, haven't taken out the spark plug, haven't taken off the cover, and took off the air filter cover, squirted some fuel in, she fires. You think, okay, she fires, but clearly with a broken crankshaft, what are we going to say? We're going to say spares or repair, and I think everybody would agree, spares or repair if you've got the skill. So somebody messaged and said, well, they said if you think it can be repaired, why don't you just put fuel in it and see if it starts? So, which is a reasonable question for somebody that might have 1 or 2 saws, but then if you did that and you had 200 or 300 saws, you'd start to realize you just can't coordinate it. So I thought, okay, let's put some fuel in, we'll answer them one at a time. So I've done nothing to this engine, and it doesn't change the status of the 011. Gorgeous little engine. What a lot of people don't realize is lots of the parts on this are interchangeable with the 9, the 009, the little top handle version. This cover, anyway, yep, I digress. So, bit of choke, kill switch, throttle lock. So I thought, okay, I will put fuel in it. Looked in, the filter's on the end of the pipe, and nothing else. Oh, choke off. So, fabulous running engine. It's strange, isn't it, how the revs come up quickly because she doesn't have the additional weight on the clutch side, spinning that little bit of extra mass. But there you go, running, still broken on the crankshaft, so obviously still spares and repair. Okay, but there you go. So for the people that messaged, yes, she runs, and she runs fantastic, and I've still done nothing to her. So that's the 011. Right. What if we picked up What if we picked up? Yep, okay. One of my Japanese Echo 602s. Is this the best one? No. 1 second. Okay. Oh. Okay, one of my early Home-Lites then. So 1980s saw, here we go, into the 1960s. One of the 77cc C51s. Beautiful Home-Lite American saw. So this girl starts and runs and has broken vanes on the flywheel, has a broken mount on the pulley start housing, has incorrect piping into the tank, which is dire, but strangely she still runs, and has had a repair on the underside. Now, is this saw spares a repair? She starts, she runs, she comes up to RPM. When you sell this saw, if you sold something like this, running and running okay, running within spec, pulls up to nearly 6,500 RPM, starts well, but has had a number of fixes which are, you know, some hidden. Is this a working used saw just with some fixes, or is she up for spares or repair? So for me, this is definitely spares or repair. You can't, if you notice that you've got broken vanes on a flywheel, you have a broken lug on the pull start housing, even if this saw runs and runs okay, that's your spares or repair. Now the reason I clarify that is, well, I spoke to, so I've got to tell you about an MS260 I looked at earlier in a second. Alright, so some people that perhaps don't have as many saws, maybe just 1 or 2 saws, and they've had this in their family, this runs and they say, hey, no, it's running, it's a used saw, what do you expect? But from my perspective, if I was collecting, if I sold this on, I'd have to say to somebody, look, it's for spares or repair because it's got 6 or 7 items which are damaged. Some have been fixed okay, some have been fixed really badly. She runs, but it's definitely not fit for purpose. It just can't be, can it? You know, she's 60 years old and it's not right. So that for me is clear as well. But strangely, because it runs, for people that sell it, which don't fix them up, they see that one different. Okay, let's get to an interesting saw, the MS260. Right, so I've put this girl up for spares or repair, and so I had multiple messages today asking, why is the saw for spares or repair? We've watched the video, the saw's running fine. I said, well, did you really watch the video? I said, because, so it's interesting, isn't it? Yes, this saw, here we go, choke, throttle lock, all integral. That was off too far, put it up one. So starts, runs, you can tell she's slightly lean low down, she's not been serviced, and cuts well at the top end, nice, chain brake excellent, still idles upside down. So multiple questions today, you know, why is this spares or repair? Well, she has to be, doesn't she? I know she's not the same as the C51, she's not been repaired and not looked at, but in the same vein, she's still not running right, is she? So used would be something which is used but still working perfectly. and you could carry on and cut with this saw, absolutely. So I went to look at a 260 earlier, selling as running beautifully. Had to satisfy and scratch an itch. Went to see the saw, 2006 model. So the date's off of this one. So between 2001 and 2011, 10-year spread. Very clean saw. When it started, it was lumpy. And I thought, okay, just wait for it to warm up. And the guy that sold it or selling obviously cuts a lot of wood. Switched it upside down. The engine bogged down, it cut out. He said, why are you turning it upside down? I said, I want to check, I said, that it runs in each orientation. He said, the saw cut's fantastic, mate. I said, okay. I said, I would like and expect it to run, I said, in each orientation. Didn't tell him I had this, and the reason for wanting to buy another one is so that I have a comparative saw. So with my 08s, I have some saws which are, I would call them nearly factory perfect. If I'm ever unsure of how something runs, I can pick up another one, I run it, and I think, there's the benchmark. This is how they're supposed to run. His saw runs worse than mine, yet he's selling that as perfect. Tried it a couple of times, runs diabolical. Doesn't peak as well as this. Now that's somebody asking significantly more money than this saw. So it just goes to show then that it really is someone's perspective and take on the engine. So the MS260, for those that messaged, she has to be spares or repair, because look, she's not worked on, and she definitely, even if she peaks at the top end, needs to be, I would say, stripped down, check the fuel in the carburetor, check the air intake, check the manifold, make sure there's no air leaks, make sure you're happy. She's oiling, chain brake excellent, but that's still spares or repair. That is still spares or repair, in my opinion. So I'd love to hear, guys, what you think, whether or not you think this running is acceptable as used. Yeah, so interesting. So this one is where perhaps, clarity and perspective with me would be really, really useful. So there's this girl. Okay. Actually, we won't go any more on those. I was going to show you the skill saw, but you get the idea. So from 1960s saws, which are running really nicely, but have had a load of repairs, to the saws which have actually, they run spectacular, but have actually got a physical fault, which, can you fix the crank? I don't know. Is it running well? Spectacular. So, spares or repair. Some people say, well, that can't be repaired. So it's not spares or repair, it's spares only. So very, very interesting to get your take on it. Right then. Enough of me yabbering. Down on 71. So this girl is definitely not spares or repair. So I'm in familiar water with my 1960s and 70s saws, because I have benchmarks and I know what I believe they should run like. So somebody messaged and said, how does they start? Does it run okay? Is it easy to start? How does it cut? Well, they're my favourite saws in the 70cc class from 1970 on, bar none. 2-inch piston, 50.8mm, 1.35 of the inch stroke, so 35mm stroke, give or take. Tough to find horsepower figures. Run up to a 25-inch bar, although I've heard people have run 28s on them, and it wouldn't surprise me if you have a very fresh engine. Let's make sure that is off. This is a fresh engine. Spectacular compression. I'm a strong guy, it's great compression. Excellent handle wrap. The enamel paint on this saw is beautiful, correct filler caps, correct lid, correct screws, AV mounts all tight, throttle lock working, kill switch working, original exhaust, solid nose, original period bar, 20-inch, both felling spikes present, fully adjustable chain oiler, all mag alloy, a real man saw, spectacular. no breaks anywhere. Only broken thing, this tiny chip is missing off the front plastic knuckle guard. So that won't qualify as spares or repair. That's just a plastic knuckle guard. So you see the differences. And then how does she run? She's a beautiful engine. Spectacular. Straight up, straight back down again. A line of oil all around the bar. Beautiful oiling system on this saw. I think it's such a shame that Danom had their trouble, because these saws for me are the epitome of British perfection for a chainsaw. Absolutely love them. Right, how does she cut? Well, this girl isn't cut with, so running 3/8. These are all the 71s are running this is the 71 SS from 1973. These are all running 3/8 pitch. So solid nose, fabulous solid nose tip symmetry, excellent tooth life. I don't know if she's sharp. She looks pretty sharp. It's just one that just doesn't get cut with. Right, let's take a couple of discs. I always love cutting with Danoms. I've got some ash and some willow and things set up down here. There's a real knotty piece earlier as well I was going through with one of my Pine R12s. Okay, so I'll take a one or two here, then perhaps we'll put it through some knottier stuff just to see how she is. We'll see if the chain needs dressing. She probably doesn't need throttle off either. It's a gorgeous engine. So that for me is as close to perfection I can get cutting. I go through a 16 or 18 piece of gnarly wood, and she just comes back to a perfect rock steady idle. Just put her on the ground, she just sit there idling, and Engine's not being stripped, not being touched. The other than a fuel filter in the line and a spark plug, she's all original as she is. Just spectacular. So that's why the MS260 is spares a repair, because she doesn't come back to this level of running low down, and I think it's fair to tell people that. I do. And even if you carry on, and it might run for, it might just carry on running like that, but I wouldn't be selling it any other way. Right. So I hope that answers the question on the 71. Yes, amazing running engine, beautiful performing, fitted with the 20-inch solid nose, so that's absolutely spectacular. Why, it's so fantastic to use that saw. And one of my other show saws has got covered. Wow, this thing was pristine a minute ago. So this girl, a couple of people asked me to show. So this is one of my 136s, another one of my workshop show saws. Just absolutely gorgeous. So again, she's going to go up for sale just because I just don't use any of these saws anymore, and I need the space for putting in other engines. So this girl's going to go up for sale. So the 136 then, follow on from the 36, a couple of tiny cosmetic changes. And what do I not like as much about this saw? So I mentioned last time I preferred the 36. Did the 36 have a tab? So I'm not a big fan of the chain brakes in a nutshell on this model of engine. I don't like the way they kind of clip in here, and then you'll find sometimes they bend out slightly. And although the brake still works, yeah, I don't like the construction of the chain brake on this particular saw. Other than that, I think they're beautiful garden saws. So this engine is immaculate. I mean, absolutely immaculate. And unusually then, I thought my other saw was running, I thought the original ones were running 325, but so this girl's running a true 3/8 setup. It's got the little, I thought that's a 15-inch bar, genuine Norwegian bar on this girl. I'll show you how she runs. Right, no fuel, 1 second. I won't bother pausing. I can see the fuel can. So interestingly, I just filtered this tank earlier on today. I've been double filtering the fuel just because. Yeah, just because. I have a little screen inside my funnel, and so if anything drops in, I know it doesn't get fed into the tank. Possibly over cautious, but it just saves work later on. It really are. You can forget just how manageable when you move from something like the 71. As much as I absolutely love that, I could see that if you're just going to be cutting up just a bit of smaller wood through the garden, perhaps it's nice, particularly as you get older, to have just a lightweight saw. You know, I think these are around the 4.8 kilo mark, so under 10 pounds or around 10 pounds, and excellent power to weight ratio. ever so simple to work on, and if you look after it, probably lasts the home user a very long time. Let's cut a bit of ash. Okay. Oh, that's gnarly. Let's put that on there. And yeah, let's have that one as well. We'll come back to that one. All right. Hey guys, so please, definitely, I'd love to get some feedback. I know a lot of you that watch some of the vids. Some of you actually sell a number of saws as well. So let me know what you think about the MS260. Is it whether or not you'd still market that as a spares or repair, or whether or not you'd say, well look, now that's used and its top end is great, okay, tiny bit lumpy low down, or might need a service, but you know, that's a used good working saw. There's nothing broken on the saw, so I'd love to hear what you think. So cut's beautiful, and so that's the first time she cut. That's a brand new 325. Is it? No, it's not. It's brand new 3/8. It is brand new 3/8 full chisel chain, and ever so interesting, isn't it? When you pick the saws up, even if they've got brand new chains on, you can tell that if you. So this one's got the little optional three-pronged felling spike or dog on the inside. If you stick the dog on it and you try to force too much, you can tell that really it's just the weight of the saw which carries this through. You don't need to force it through, because they just can't cope with it being, you know, in this size engine, 36 cc's. Whereas something like the 71, you could put it on the dogs and you could force it on the dogs and then really labour the engine. You don't have that luxury with a small home saw like this, but in terms of cutting, it's just 6 and 8-inch wood. Absolutely fantastic. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Yeah, I was going to come on to the E70 as well, but that's another story. We're going to come back to the E70. Take care guys. Remember to let me know. Bye for now.